Hello, and welcome to the Andrews and Gladys Infrastructure Improvements Project, a Clean Water Lakewood project. Hi, my name is Mark Papke, and I am the city engineer.
My name is Brian Shields. I am a project manager with the city.
Today's agenda, we're going to be talking about the introduction to Clean Water Lakewood, what lies beneath Andrews and Gladys streets. We're going to talk about the project overview and timeline. We're going to talk about our commitment to you and your neighborhood and how to help us help you. Clean Water Lakewood was established as the city's commitment to meet Clean Water Act and EPA and Department of Justice requirements. This has been an ongoing program over the past 9 years with various improvement projects to reduce combined sewer overflows to Lake Erie and to Rocky River, which threatens the water quality of those watersheds. The intent of the Clean Water Lakewood is to make improvements collectively with other infrastructure needs, such as resurfacing and water main replacements, in order to address these projects one neighborhood at a time and attempt to only impact the residents one time. The benefits to Clean Water Lakewood projects are to improve water quality and water flow, better storm drainage, provide newly paved streets, improve fire flow, and to protect the environment. For this particular project, we will be performing the construction on Andrews and Gladys between Detroit and Clifton. This project is a city-funded and budgeted project. There is no assessed cost to the property owners. The city is getting funding through an American Rescue Plan Act grant, also known as ARPA, a 0% interest loan from Ohio Public Works Commission, and revenues from water, sewer, and impervious surface fees all fund this project. The property owners and utility customers will see no additional cost for this project. What lies beneath Andrews and Gladys streets? The original water main and sewer was constructed in 1906, which puts it at 116 years old. The water flow to fire hydrants is low and is a potential safety hazard. There's lead pipes that bring water from the water main in the street to the curb box, which is a potential water quality hazard. And looking, the last time that Andrews and Gladys was resurfaced was 13 years ago. These typical useful life of this type of infrastructure is 50 years for the sewers and water mains, and newly resurfaced streets last typically 9 to 12 years. So as you can see, the infrastructure has outlived its useful life and is in need of improvements. We're going to talk about the drinking water infrastructure and how it services your home. Underneath the center line, near the center line of the street, is the water main. It's a 6-inch diameter cast iron pipe, and basically off of that main has the 3/4 inch service line that brings water to your house. The drinking water system is owned and operated by the city of Lakewood, and we purchase water from the city of Cleveland. This is a diagram of, or actually a photo from a 2016 water main replacement project that shows the typical existing condition of our 6-inch cast iron water mains. As you can see, these are heavily corroded, which has hardened mineral deposits that constrict the flow and reduces the water flow by almost a half. This type of pipe is no longer used. We now install ductile iron pipe that is cement lined, and we increase the diameter to 8 inches for these projects. Next, we'll talk about the sanitary sewer infrastructure that serves your home. The sanitary sewer system basically takes all of the drains from within your house and, in some instances, from the garage. These are the interior drains, and basically they come out from your structure into a lateral that then comes out into the city street sanitary sewer main that's in our project area is about 8 inches to 12 inches in diameter. And these carry the wastewater to the wastewater treatment plant that the city owns and operates, where it's treated and then released to Lake Erie. In some areas, we do have cleanouts, and some properties have them. Some of them are buried. We're going to talk further about how we're going to be treating these sanitary cleanouts. Next up is the storm sewer infrastructure that services your home. So the storm sewer system is what carries your rainwater that hits your rooftops, any of your yard drains, or any of the hardened surfaces. It's all the rainwater and snow melt that goes directly to Lake Erie and is not treated in any manner. So in the center line of the street, we have the storm sewer main, which varies in sizes in our project area from 8 inches in diameter to 42 inches in diameter. And these are made of vitrified clay pipe that has 2-foot joints. And then this is the typical 6-inch storm lateral that takes the roof runoff directly out to the storm sewer main. And we're going to be talking further about cleanouts. Similar to the sanitary, there are some properties that have them, some that don't, or some that are buried. We also have, in some instances in the city, a storm trap. They also call these P-traps. And they were installed in the 1900s to prevent any sewer gases from coming up through the system. But these have become blocked over time due to debris getting in the way or collecting shingles that come off from shingle debris that comes off from the rooftops. So collectively in the Andrews and Gladys area, the storm and sanitary sewer is a over-under sewer system, meaning that in the same trench we have the sanitary sewer that's the most bottom pipe, and then directly above it is the storm sewer pipe. This is referred to as the over-under sewer system. And these pipes come into one common manhole. And what separates those flows are an invert plate. And that invert plate sits basically about the height of the invert of the storm sewer. And these invert plates were basically put in there so that we could maintain the undersewer, the sanitary sewer. And this type of configuration is no longer used. It was used basically back in the 1900s. But as you can see, over time, these invert plates have shifted, or they're not, 100% sealed, so that there's allowable communication between the two. Where basically, with the 2-foot joints that we have, we get a lot of water that seeps into from the storm into the sanitary, and that sanitary sewer basically gets overwhelmed, and it pushes up that invert plate and basically carries commingled water through the storm sewer out to Lake Erie and the Rocky River, which is basically combined sewer overflow. So collectively, all those systems together basically look like this, where we have the over-under coming into the one manhole, and then you can see that we have the laterals for the sanitary, the storm, and then we also have the water main. Typically, these are relatively close together and service each property. This clean water Lakewood project will replace the water main on both streets, replace lead water service lines with a copper water service line, separate the sanitary and storm sewers on Andrews Avenue only, and rehabbing by lining the sanitary mains in the street and the sanitary sewer laterals that are going from the home's main into the right-of-way to prevent leaks. We're also going to be installing new storm and sanitary cleanouts for each property. We're going to be removing storm traps if they're found. We're going to be installing new curbs, installing new driveway aprons, and resurfacing the street, as well as restoring the site, each tree lawn with street trees and landscaping. The project timeline. We anticipate to be going out to bid in April of 2022, with construction beginning in 2022, and our anticipated completion date is July of 2023.
Hi again, this is Brian Shields, and I'm going to talk about what you can expect to see on your property and the street throughout the course of this project. This project is on Andrews and Gladys, and they do have a couple differences, but generally the same work will occur on both. On Andrews, we will be doing manhole separations, which, as you can see in the detail, entails us taking the storm sewer and diverting it around the original manhole. And we will install a new storm manhole only while we do this diversion of the storm main. This will allow the existing manhole to be what is known as a sanitary manhole only. And then while we do the work, we will also do rehabilitation on the original manhole to line it, make it watertight, and that'll give us our access to the sanitary, and the new manhole will be the stormwater only. This will help eliminate the commingling of storm and sanitary. Also, we will be replacing the testes in the yard. Testes are also named for exterior cleanouts for the sewer laterals. Typically, when the original construction happened about 100 years ago, they were all performed in one trench. So the sewer lateral sanitary storm are relatively close to one another, and these cleanouts are pretty close, and they will be within 1 to 2 feet when we replace them. On all properties that we find the P-traps in the storm lateral, we will be removing that P-trap, because over time that P-trap has basically turn into a plug with all the dirt, debris, runoff that gets into the storm lateral, which makes it very ineffective for water to get shed away from your home through the storm lateral. So this will increase drainage away from your property by taking out the trap. Also, we will be putting in a lining, which is an epoxy resin liner, in the sanitary lateral and the main. We will go from the new cleanouts in the lateral to the main, and then also the mains from manhole to manhole. And this will make the sanitary lines, quote unquote, more watertight. So we're eliminating the fresh water from getting into the sanitary, increasing that volume. With the water line itself, the new main will be going in as previously discussed. So it will be an 8-inch diameter ductile iron pipe, which basically means that the interior of the pipe has a cement lining, a coating, if you will, which minimizes the corrosion that we've seen in the older materials. From the new main, we will be installing new service lines, which will consist of copper, and they will be ran from the new main up to the right-of-way where the curb stop is located. And then from the curb stop up to the house is, that's on the private side where your own lateral will take the water into the house. Here's an example of a sewer manhole separation. The older looking manhole is the original manhole, which on the previous slide you saw the invert plate in there. When we do the separation, we will take that plate out and line everything so that manhole will only be for sanitary sewer access. The storm main that used to run through that original manhole will be, quote unquote, dog-legged over to work its way around the old manhole and pass through the new manhole and then back into its original alignment. So not only are we separating the manholes, but we're taking new storm main approximately 15 feet on both sides of the manhole and running new pipe in there. And then when we have catch basins close to the manholes, we replace those and we will plumb them directly into the new storm manhole. As you can see, you can expect this work takes a great amount of space, so there'll be a lot of communication when we're going to be in the street, and there'll be a lot of steel plates, and you may have to get with the contractor to obtain access. For Gladys, pretty much everything that we're doing on Andrews applies to Gladys. However, we cannot do the manhole separations. And the reason for this is the sewer system on Gladys is connected and fed from Detroit Avenue. Whereas on Andrews, the sewer system begins just north of Detroit, so it's isolated to Andrews people only. So the volume of flows in sanitary and storm going down Gladys from Detroit are a lot greater than Andrews. And before we do any separation work, we have to reduce the flows upstream of Gladys so we don't cause any adverse effects to properties with the separation of the manholes. While our work is going on both streets, the contractor will be utilizing electronic message boards, and basically they will be updated, whether it's every day or a couple of times a week, with messages as far as where work is going on, where access is going to be limited to, or certain hours, things of that nature, just to easily communicate with where everything is at. And gives you a good idea of what goes into placing a new water main. A water main that typically will require approximate 2 to 3 foot wide trench, about 6 to 6.5 feet deep. And when this new main goes in, they go in basically just all the way down the street and backfill as they go. There is a lot of excavation that you have to drive slow. There may be temporary delays while they have to do a crossing. You may wait 5 to 10 minutes while they provide a safe path for you. In addition to trenching for the water main, we have the water service lines we talked about. Now, there's two ways these water service lines will be installed. Ideally, if the soil conditions allow, we will do them trenchless via a mole. And then we basically will push a rod through the ground and pull the copper behind and have a receiving pit in the tree lawn area so we don't have to cut across the road. However, if bedrock is high and shale, which we have found often, sometimes molding is not very feasible. So therefore they will have to excavate again a cross trench going across the street from the new water main up into the property to run the new service line. This will be ongoing throughout the job, and again, you may have some brief delays if you're trying to drive by while they're digging this trench. As far as the sanitary and work that we talked about, in the upper right-hand picture, you can see a lining that has been installed. And basically that is just adding life to the old pipe, which is vitrified clay pipe with those 2-foot joints, and that causes a lot of the water infiltration. This lining helps seal that off from groundwater and runoff. Also, we will install new cleanouts that you see in the left. Now that's basically on the back side of the sidewalk in the existing utility trench. So if there was a P-trap in there in the storm, they removed that and we ran straight pipe. And then they will backfill everything accordingly. We will mark the sidewalk where these cleanouts are. Now, if any issues with sewers in the future happen, you yourself or your con plumber will have a very easy and clean access point to diagnose and remediate any issues. Street excavation will mean new pavement. Once we do all the sewer and water main work, we will focus on putting new pavement down on the roadways. Before the new pavement goes down, we will be replacing the driveway aprons and installing new curbs and curb drains. If and when pavement cannot go down in a timely fashion, temporary patches of the street will be in place so that the streets will be still drivable and safe. Here's another good example of some of what you can expect when they install the new curbs and drains. As you can see, going right down the trench where the old curb line is, the black pipe on the left, it's a 4-inch pipe that basically gets embedded in fine gravel, and the new curb will be formed on top of it, which you can see the new curb to the right. So in the middle picture is where the drain has been installed and covered. And then the next step will be placing the curb and then backfilling along the edges of the curb before the pavement operations can happen. In order to install the curbs and the sewer lateral work and sometimes water, we have to cut across or open up the driveway aprons. And in doing so, we will be replacing all the driveway aprons, basically in the right of way. So it'll be from the front side or the street side of the sidewalk up to the new curb. That this will be coordinated with the contractor because you will lose access to your driveway during some of this work for a few days. Once the paving operations are completed with the final surface course, in the bottom right-hand corner you see example of the first course of asphalt, and there'll be a second course going on top of that. But once all the pavement gets done, then we will come back in and we will replace and add new color stamped crosswalks at both ends of both streets. When that work occurs, there will be notifications given, and that access from that end of the street will be blocked off for approximately 72 hours. However, both directions of traffic will be allowed to come and go from the other end of the street during this time. And after the pavement is done, then we will begin our landscaping and restoration. Some street trees will need to be removed during the work. Our city arborist has selected replacement trees compatible with the site and per Tree City USA standards. So those will be installed, and the landscaping will be put back into tree lawns per the pre-construction condition. Here's hopefully what it looks like just before the grass starts to grow. Parking restrictions. As you can imagine, there is a lot of activity for both these projects. So there will be no on-street parking permitted from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Some Saturdays it may be restricted also due to schedules, makeup days, weather delays, or just a difficult access where a contractor needs to get in. If there will be Saturday work in a certain area, those people affected would be notified. We'll accommodate residents who need special parking considerations due to physical limitations. Please notify us. We will give everybody an email address or a contact information to make sure we can work with you to address your needs. On-street parking will be allowed on the east side of the street after 6 p.m. Monday through Friday and on the weekends. Parking restrictions will change as the project progresses. Signs and the digital message boards will be used to display what the current restriction is. Vehicles will be ticketed and towed if they are parked where they should not be. During the construction, street access will be one-way traffic, and it will be primarily southbound, entering only from Clifton, heading towards Detroit. When phasing permits for two-way traffic flows, this is when we will close one end of the street to perform the sanitary sewer separation work and or the crosswalk installation work. A few times throughout the project, you can expect access to your driveway to be delayed as work crosses in front of your property. There will be several times that driveway access will not be permitted for 72 hours during the sewer and water lateral work and the curb installation and the driveway apron. You can expect during out the project, equipment, materials, supplies, and contractors' vehicles will be positioned along the street throughout the job.
Our commitment to you and your neighborhood. Preparing you means fewer surprises. We will do our best to tell you in advance so you know what to expect. The paved surfaces will consist of aggregate stone, asphalt millings, or steel street plates until the final surface can be restored. The project work is going to create dust, and we will control that to lessen the impacts on residents by water and placement of calcium chloride. The sewer lining work may have a distinct odor. We will provide you in advance notice to place water in your drain traps to prevent those odors from entering your home. We expect that we may find some lead service lines that need to be replaced at no cost to you. And that's basically from the right of way to your home. In this instance, we will definitely coordinate that with you, and we'll only enter your home with your permission. Strategies for managing parking and street access. Looking out for your neighbors makes things easier for everyone. Clifton Boulevard rush hour restrictions are going to be removed during construction from French to Cook. The city parking lots on Gladys and at Kaufman Park will be available for parking for residents. And we just ask that you help your neighbors out by parking in each other's driveways as much as possible overnight and on weekends to free up street parking for those folks that are on the west side. The contractor will work in four quadrants to minimize impacts during curb replacement. And basically those quadrants are Detroit to the railroad tracks, the east side, then the west side, and then the railroad tracks to Clifton, east side, and then the west side. Our team will work carefully to prevent damage. We want to protect your property. Prior to construction, the site will be videotaped, and this protects both you, the property owner, and the contractor. Per the contract, the contractor is liable for all damages caused by their work. If you do have an underground sprinkler system or a buried fence for dogs, we want you to notify us so that we can note that for our contractor. If you have the underground sprinkler system, we're going to want to turn those systems on so that we can properly locate all the sprinkler heads. We're a part of your neighborhood, and our commitment is to keep you informed. The city has a project page that's set up specifically for this project that will include weekly updates as the construction progresses. Notices regarding any planned interruptions to water, gas, or sewer service will be provided at least 48 hours in advance. Notices regarding driveway access will be provided at least 48 hours in advance. Communication with you is our priority, and we typically do respond the day of your communication. Well, we're going to have a full-time on-site inspector that you will become familiar with, and they will respond to your needs. As the project gets closer, we're going to be providing you specific contact information and, of course, the ability to get email notices. We're going to use the sign and electronic digital message boards to help you navigate as the project changes. Changes will happen, and we're going to do our best to keep you informed when the unexpected happens. With the infrastructure being 116 years old, you can expect that there's going to be disruption to driveway access, utility service that could prolong the project or the work item that the contractor is doing. There's weather, equipment, supplier, workforce shortages due to COVID and other things that happen during construction. So please understand that circumstances can change daily. Here's what you can do now. If you have any special needs or concerns, we are available to discuss this with you privately. If you have any events coming up, such as moving, remodeling, or a big event, let us know and we can do our best to accommodate your needs. If you have any physical limitations, that require 24-hour access to your driveway, please let us know as soon as possible. And as we talked about before, if you have sprinkler lines or new landscaping in your tree lawn, let us know, and we're going to work together with you. Please give us your email address so that we can contact you with any changes. We know that projects like this are very difficult, and we really appreciate your patience and understanding. This project includes major infrastructure improvements that will benefit you and enhance your property value and the neighborhood. The curb and driveway apron installation will be the most impactful to you. Working together to share parking in driveways or provide on-street parking will be important. We just ask when you're able to park in your driveway to do so to minimize the amount needed on on-street parking. You can definitely expect delays, and please reach out to us if you are experiencing any issues. We do ask that you drive slowly through the site. That helps with the safety of the workers, as well as minimizing the amount of dust that gets picked up. Our main goal is that our workers return safely to their families each and every day. So please keep an eye out for all the project team and construction workers, please. Here's our project contacts for Mark Papke and for Brian Shields. Feel free to give us a call or email us, and we appreciate you listening, and have a great day.